Here we go. It's another special edition of the 50/50 podcast. The 50/50 podcast presented by our good friends, College Promoters USA, our proud partners, College Promoters USA, based out of San Antonio, Texas. They are here located in the Ventura Plaza Shopping Center here in San Antonio. You can also find them on social media on Twitter at SATX Recruiting, as well as on Instagram at College Promoters USA. And you can also find them on their website at collegepromotersusa.com. My next guest, she is making her debut appearance here. She is only the second student athlete to be featured here live on the 50/50 podcast. She is Skylar Skelton. She is a 22 uncommitted forward who is based out of Peoria, Arizona, and plays for Liberty High School as well as Inferno Soccer Club. Skylar, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am doing great. I'm excited. Excited to have you here. Really awesome. I know this has been kind of way overdue. It's been an interesting journey. How we got here, how you've gotten here, but very rarely. Like I said, you're only the second. You're only the second student athlete to be featured on here directly the on the podcast. Even though we work with uh, indirectly with a lot of student athletes and helping showcase them, but you have probably one of the most special, intriguing stories. Can't tell you how this one's kind of a little bit more personal for me, also just because the road you've taken to get here. And I know a little bit more behind the scenes in terms of what you've had to overcome. So this is pretty awesome to see. Glad, can't tell you how proud I am to that you're here, let alone that you're on the podcast. So welcome.
Yes, thank you.
All right. So we're going to jump right in then. Tell us a little bit, tell the world really who Skylar is, where you are. I know I hit it briefly, but where you are, who you are.
Yes, so I play soccer at Liberty and with a club here. They're called Inferno. A lot of the girls that are on my high school team are on that club team too, so it's great to play with them like all year round. Some things I love to do. I love hiking. I love working out. That's like being in the gym is one of my favorite things. I coach the third grade service at CCB, which is like our local church here. Um, yeah, that pretty much hits all my favorite
Yeah.
activities.
All right. Okay. Good. So the this particular episode, we're talking about your road
Mhm.
to recovery, right? That path to recovery and
Yes.
your recovery that ultimately was really paved through resiliency.
Mhm.
Like I said, behind the scenes, I saw a little bit more regular communication in terms of
Yep.
what you had to go through. But I got to say, in terms of just being able to chronicle your journey, right, from day one of the injury to to pre pre-op, I guess, if you will, post-op, and then just that grind, right, of getting back,
Yes.
and now you're here, now you're back. um
Yes.
Take us kind of through that. Take us through maybe right before, not pre-op, post-op, but maybe right before the injury, where you were at in terms of just play, your mindset, and everything, and
Mhm.
then where you were pretty much immediately after the injury.
Okay, yeah. So basically, I tore my ACL the first game of high school season, first half. We were at a game 3 hours away. It was in Yuma, which is pretty far from where my high school is. But I was coming off, it was, like I said, first game. I was coming off of an amazing sophomore year season. I was leading in goals. Everyone was so excited to see what junior year would hold for me. And we had also brought in a few new players that couldn't play because they were playing at a high level that didn't allow them to. So everyone was excited to see that combination of me mixed with those players. And so 40 minutes into the game, I had come out right before it happened, and then I got put back in 2 minutes later because it was just like a get water, let's go, like get back in. It was just to get someone else out. And so I came back in, I played a few minutes, and then it wasn't a collision that did it. It was just the way I had landed. And then I got back up and I kept playing after I tore it, and I didn't know I had torn it, which to me, it was really weird because in all my experience seeing people tear their ACLs, they go down and then they're screaming, crying in pain, and that's just the standard I had set for a torn ACL. But when I had torn mine, I had got back up, I kept playing, I took a shot, and the only thing that was weird was my knee. The only way I could describe it was that my knee felt weird. That was like there was no pain, nothing. So I had come off just because my knee was feeling a little weird after I had landed. And
Yeah.
then I came off, the trainers looked at me, said, "Oh, it's just a sprained ACL, maybe your LCL too." And they're like, "You'll be back 2 weeks max, maybe even by the end of the week." But and then I sat through second half. I really wanted to go back in, but my coaches wouldn't let me. A little upset about that one, but you know, just gotta listen to coaches sometimes. And then they did make the right call there. When I got home, well, I had to wait through second half, couldn't play, had to wait through the whole 3-hour drive home on the bus because my parents weren't there, so they couldn't like take me
Right.
because my mom wanted to, my mom was very worried and she wanted to take me to the hospital after. And so we got back from the 3-hour drive. And so then my mom took me to the hospital, and then it was really late. We had gotten home around 11:30, and then I was in the ER until probably 2 in the morning. And then I saw an orthopedic surgeon or the orthopedic doctor the next day, that same day, I guess, if it was 2 in the morning. And the next day they told me to get an MRI just to be safe. And then I got my MRI, and even though I like wasn't practicing or anything, I still went to practice that day. I went and talked to the trainers at my school, and that's what my trainer told me. She's like, "Don't be surprised if it comes back as a torn ACL. You have all the symptoms." And then I was more relaxed then. So when she did the test on me, she goes, "I think it's torn." She's like, "I'm almost
Mhm.
100% sure." So she goes, and she told me this, which was like really, really nice to hear at the time because it was definitely helped. She's like, "If anyone on the team tore their ACL, she's like, it sounds bad to say, but you were probably the best person because I know you can get through it like a lot of people can't. You're gonna have the right mindset. You're gonna come back stronger." So that was definitely something that was good to hear in the moment when I didn't even know what was going on. I was very unsure of like what the true diagnosis would be. But it's good to hear
Mhm.
that just in the case of, oh, it is torn, like that's giving me a mindset. I'm just gonna come back stronger and I'm going to be a better player, a better person because of it. And then the next day I did get the news back that it was just a complete torn ACL. And so I got lucky. I didn't tear my meniscus, didn't have a bone bruise, and that's why I didn't have pain, which definitely helped coming back that I didn't have the pain when I tore it, because if I did, I think I'd be a little bit more, hesitant and going into certain tackles and stuff like that because I'm like, "Oh, I don't want to feel that pain again." But I never had that in the first place. So coming back it made it a lot easier.
Yeah. So what are you're in that first half of that game, right? The first
Mhm.
40 minutes of when it occurred. When it kind of initially when it happened or you were in the game for a little bit longer before you were subbed out, but
Mhm.
was it significant enough to where did you feel like okay, this is something serious, this is legitimate, even though you were still in the game,
Yeah.
could you tell it's like, okay, something's like very wrong here, or was it just like I'll be fine, or what
Yeah,
were your
no,
thoughts?
I didn't think it was anything serious because I heard a pop. Because I remember I got up and I was kind of walking around, and one of my teammates like, "What are you playing? Like, why are you over here?" And I was like, I was playing the 10 at the time. I'm like, "I'm the 10." I'm like, "But my knee popped." I'm like, "That it just feels weird." And then she's like, "Oh." And so like then I got back to the 10, kept playing. I made a pass, a great through ball that we had an opportunity on, and then I got a ball, took a shot, and then after the shot, I took a knee because my coaches were telling me like, "Take a knee, you need to come out." Like I can tell something's going on, like because I was like, not I was like the way I was like staying over there after it happened and not didn't get back
Right.
to my position like as quick as I usually do. And so I told my coaches, I'm like, "I need to sub." And so they got me off after I took the knee after the shot. And then I came off and then my coach was like, he's like, "I can tell it's not anything serious. You're gonna have a season." Like, and like that coach and I have a lot of history. Like I love him. He's always been my support system on the sidelines. And so like I really trusted him there. And then it did end up being a torn ACL. So I was like, wow. But yeah, no, I didn't think it was anything serious at the time, especially after they had told me it was just a sprain and I'd be back 2 days to 2 weeks. So
Yeah. Okay. So talk to us a little now. You're you've had you're in that moment, right? You've just now, well, not right after the match, but
mhm,
now you're at the doctors, have an MRI, it's confirmed.
mhm.
What are your initial what are your initial thoughts there? Because I recall, I can share with our listeners that phone call that I got from you, right? We
Mhm.
were getting ready to kind of launch a pretty good a pretty good marketing campaign for you, right? And we had ironically we had just had a pretty in-depth meeting, what, like less than a month prior?
Right
Like,
before it.
yeah, yeah. So, what are your thoughts now? The doctors told you it's confirmed, it's positive. They're laying out a treatment plan, so to speak. But in that moment now, what are you thinking and what are you feeling?
Mhm. Well, I mean, obviously, it's kind of out there that you tear an ACL, you're out for 9 months. So I'm like, okay, the next 9 months is going to be recovery. I'm trying to just get my head to the next 9 months, I need to put in the work to get back on the field. I'm thinking about school because I had a medical class at the time where I would have to go do clinicals. And I'm like, I can't do clinicals if I'm on crutches and the big knee brace and I can't walk, that kind of thing. So I'm thinking about, okay, I need to tell the school, I need to be able to get out of this class, have to get that all figured out. I'm like, I have to go to school like this. I ended up switching online, which was really helpful. And it gave me a lot more time to focus on recovery because I only had 2 classes at the time because I had dropped the other class. So that was helpful. But I was just thinking, like, okay, next 9 months, what do I have to do to get back on the field? And what do I have to do to make my body physically strong enough to go back and not get re-injured?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, probably most kids in your situation would be thinking like, "Oh my god, my life is over. I
Mhm.
can't believe
Yeah.
here you are thinking about school and classes and my schedule and what do I need to drop." So,
Yep.
yeah, I think that speaks a lot to your character and, just the incredible leader, just an incredible young leader that you are. So, kudos to you obviously on that. But, so what did you so here we are now, you're getting ready for surgery. You have the surgery
Mhm.
and then now it's like you're staring at this long recovery process right in the face, right?
Yes.
Take us through that journey in terms of where you were when you started that rehab process. And then from then to right before you got cleared, what did
Mhm.
you learn along the way?
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing for me was not focusing necessarily on like the big picture, just your next big goal. So like my first goal after surgery was I want to walk by 7 days. I want to be walking without my crutches because I personally don't like crutches, and it was just a goal of mine that I wanted to start walking by myself. So I did do that. It was actually funny because we had a game 7 days later, and it was our senior night, and I was like, I want to be walking at senior night. Like I want to be able to go see my teammates walk and see them, cheer them on. And so I was at that game, I had walked from one side of the field to the other because we had to like walk across the field to go watch them, like all the juniors, sophomores, and freshmen.
Yeah.
And so I had walked without my crutches across the field, which was a huge goal for me that I did. And then, yeah, like I said, just I think focusing on your next big thing helped me a lot because when you're looking at the whole picture, you're like, oh my gosh, like you get out of surgery, you can barely lift your leg up, you can barely walk, you can't even imagine running, let alone running while having to have a ball at your feet. So I think it's just very stressful if you think about it that way. So for me, it helped to just think, okay, my next goal is to walk, my next goal is to jog, and then it's to run, and then it's to include a ball, and just little things like that.
Okay. The hardest, tell us the hardest part and maybe surprisingly, maybe the easiest part, what you found to be the easiest part of this rehab process.
Yeah, so I think the hardest part was definitely sitting on the sidelines, watching all my teammates and, like, not being like, "I wanna be out there, I wanna be playing," and just supporting them and being like, "I am so happy for you that you get the chance to play that normally where I would be playing," and, like, just supporting the team and being like, "Yay," like, like because my team, my club team had made it to state finals, and I was like, "I really wanna play in this game," like, it'd be an amazing game to play in, and then we ended up losing 1-0 or 3-2 in overtime, which really sucked. But it was a great game to watch, and I loved watching my teammates and supporting them. So, I mean, it's just something that every athlete that's injured has to deal with. Doesn't matter the injury, but I mean, it takes a lot to be like to be like I. But I So I was running and I see my coaches, I was close with them and I helped them in any way that I possibly could. So that kind of helped when it came to like games and I knew on sidelines I could help. I could help these girls. I feel like that was something that I noticed that I think you need to work on a little bit. And here's something I noticed that you did really good. So that was my way of like still being on like included and on the sidelines and still being part of the game in like a way. And then the easiest part for me, I would say, was I really thought that I was gonna have a lot of pain coming out of surgery, but there really wasn't that much pain. Like in physical therapy, there were certain activities where I had my bad days, like everyone has their bad days. But I mean, you can't let those control you and control the process. You have to focus on your good days and you got to be like tomorrow's going to be better at physical therapy. I'm going to do this that I couldn't do today, and you just got to focus on that kind of thing. I think that was a lot easier for me than I thought it would be because I've had injuries before and like I thought that like, oh, an ACL, it's so much worse because there's so many standards with it. But really it wasn't like any other, like it's just like any other injury. You just have to treat it like that. And you can't be like, oh, it's an ACL. It's going to be so much worse, you know, like
Hmm.
that kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So if you could go back to immediately after the injury occurred, at from then to now, at any point, what what would you do? What would you, maybe it's not about regrets, but what would what would you do differently? Is there any one thing that you would tweak or you would have done sooner or done later? What would you go back? What would you maybe alter?
I think that I really wouldn't change this recovery in any way because I was still included in the game. I was there for every physical therapy appointment. I made the most of everything and it really taught me a lot as a person and it changed me in ways that I really didn't think would happen. And I really wouldn't change anything that happened because I mean it all was part of the process and it got me to where I am now.
Yeah. So what changes along the way in that journey? What changes did you uncover? Did you discover that were just kind of like added bonuses that
Mhm.
there's no way you would have probably ever encountered them if not for the injury?
Yeah, I think that from the second I tore it, I was like, okay, I can't do legs in the gym. I'm gonna go do arms. So going to the gym was kind of like an outlet for like not being able to practice, not being able to do that. Like I found in my off time that I started going to the gym a lot more because like I had taken a weight training class my sophomore year. And so like that's where I learned all the basics. But I never like included that into my daily life, like just going to the gym on my own and doing my own thing. And like now I still to like today, I still go to the gym by myself. I still go during school with like my teammates. We have a weight training class. So I still go by myself too. And so I think that's a big change there, which has really helped me be like physically stronger and it's helped me mentally. I trust myself more. I trust my body and
Mhm.
I trust that I'm strong enough not to get injured again because I put in the work outside off the field and I put in the work in the gym. So that's like a big thing that's changed. And I also learned to appreciate the game more because like you go into these games and like you have those bad practice days where you're like, oh, I really wish I didn't have practice day. But like I do not have that attitude anymore. I'm like every day is a blessing that I get to play because I know that I won't play forever. So now that I like realize that I was out 9 months, I didn't get to do those practices. And I have these teammates over here. Oh, I really wish we didn't have to practice today. And I'm like, I would give anything to be able to practice right now. So it really just changed my mindset. And it's like I never complain about having practice. If anything, I would love to have practice more. I'd love to have the ball at my feet more. And in ways it has made me on my own go take the ball and go take shots. I'm friends with the boys goalie at my high school and we've gone out and I've taken shots on him. Just little things like that you don't realize until you cannot play.
Isn't it amazing how that works, right? When it's kind of
Mhm.
taken from you and all of a sudden, so that newfound perspective, that wisdom that you've encountered along the way. And it just, the one thing in speaking with you regularly through this journey, um, you I can tell you grew massively as a leader, as a young lady. Um, so it was pretty awesome to see, to see that wisdom,
Mhm.
that maturity that came with that. And I think one of the best pieces, what I think you handled extremely well, was that you fully stepped in to this rehab process. You embraced it, and you kind of took a lot of people through social media. The power of
Mhm.
social media when it's used for
Yeah.
good. You took a lot of people on your journey with you, right?
Mhm.
It was like you really embraced that, whereas most people kind of just disappear, and there's nothing wrong with that, but
Yeah.
it's not very common for people to really embrace it and tackle it and share it and kind of really give us a sneak peek behind the curtains the way you did. What was that like for you?
I mean, if I could help just like one athlete that's like really struggling, they've been injured, they don't think that they can do it, they're scared, they're like, oh my gosh, I'm out for 9 months, like my life is over, like you had said earlier. I think if it helps even one person, like that is huge because that's one person with a better mindset that's going to come back even stronger than anyone thought, you know? Because there's people that are like, oh, like you're gonna come back so much stronger. And honestly, for me, I'm not coming back. I'm picking up right where I left off.
Awesome. I love the confidence. She is Skylar Skelton, a 2022 uncommitted forward out of Liberty High School in Peoria, Arizona. And for our listeners, Skylar, that may be listening, across the state of Texas or even really across the country, give us a little bit more insight for those of us that aren't from Arizona. Where exactly is Peoria?
So Peoria is about an hour from Phoenix. It's like any type of like sort of small but big town, if that makes sense. Small town with a lot of people. Everyone at my school, we pretty much know each other. Still a big school though. But I love it here. I mean, it gets really hot, but I mean,
Shocker. Yeah.
I'm ready when it comes to heat anywhere else. I'm like, oh my gosh, 90 degrees. This is like amazing. I'd love to play in 90 degrees. So
Yeah.
Arizona for you.
Yeah, yeah. I'm still, having family in Tucson, I still try to understand their club season there. It's like, what do you guys play your
Yeah.
games at like 1 in the morning? So it's nice and cool or what? But yeah, yeah, that's an interesting one for sure.
Yep.
Um, so you hit on it briefly just a second ago, um, in terms of helping someone. And that
Mhm.
kind of leads me into my question is, what would you share with anyone who maybe just kind of encountered this, is just starting this process, or or may possibly experience it down the road?
Mhm.
Um, what would you share with them? What one or two pieces of advice that you wish somebody would have maybe shared with you, when you were first entering this process?
Yeah. I mean, as much as it sucks, you have to just be patient. I mean, everything's going to come in time and you can't change how long it's going to take. So you kind of just need to live in the moment and you need to put in 110% effort with every activity you do. Because even though it might seem like some stupid little activity, like those little, like firing your quad, little things like that, that seem like, oh my gosh, like this is just like so small. It's going to help you and you really just need to focus on like the little things, like I said, focusing on your next big thing instead of focusing on just playing. Like you really need to focus on every step and you need to get in the gym, you need to physically build yourself so that you will not get injured again and make it a once in a lifetime thing. That's like my biggest thing is I want to make this just a once in a lifetime thing. I do not want to go through that again because I know I put in the work then so that I wouldn't have to. And I think that it's something that's going to change you as a person for like for the better, for sure. And I think that it's a good thing. I think that I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't go back and be like, "Oh my gosh, I wish I didn't tear my ACL," because it's changed me a lot as a person, and I've grown, and I learned to appreciate things more, and, like, little things like that, that it was a humbling experience for sure.
Right, right. Yeah. Yeah, I bet. So now we've gone through that process from injury to now. Not too long ago, you were finally cleared, full,
Yes.
bill of health. Hey, you can go now.
Yep.
Talk to us about now. Where are you at now? What have you been able to do so far? And just where everyday life, training, games. Where are you at now?
So I got cleared about 3 weeks ago for 100%. I can practice, I can play in all my games, and it started off slow. That the process coming back, like once you're cleared for just like non-contact, it goes fast, but it's also slow at the same time. I mean, that's goes for the whole recovery. But I had like 2 weeks of non-contact, which was conditioning. So I mean, it still felt like practice because every conditioning drill, every time that my teammates were running, I was running too. So it helped me like get back into the game more and be more included. And then when I started non-contact, I started with the ball on my own. So like if my teammates were over there doing a dribbling drill, I just did it a little bit farther away just to be safe, but I was still doing the same thing. And then from that stage, I went into contact, but only from half field and less. So then I was getting that first practice back felt absolutely amazing. I was getting the touches in. We had done a crossing and finishing drill, which I did absolutely amazing in, which felt awesome because I hadn't been back. And you never know coming back from an injury as an athlete, like in your head, you're like, am I going to come back different? Like, and I've had a few injuries, and I always pick up right where I left off. I'm the same player, and it's just one of those things where it takes a practice to realize that. You just need to get back into it to realize you're still the same player, you still have the same skills. And yeah, there's a few that you might struggle with, but you just have to relearn them and they come back. It's muscle memory. And so then I started my first half field contact practice. And then my team, we struggled for about a week and a half with being quarantined and all our games and practices and all that stuff getting canceled. So at that point, it was pretty much back to the whole non-contact practice with the ball on your own, which I still did because it was like part of our homework since we didn't have practice.
Mm-hmm.
So then it was like, oh my gosh, like I'm going backwards. But then we had practice the first day that I could do a full field contact practice. We had practice that day. It was our first day back. That felt amazing. And then we had a tournament that weekend, which was I was 100% cleared for that. So I got to play in that tournament. That was about 3 weeks ago. So that was amazing. Friday night, we had our first game, and it was my first game back. And then for these games, I'm not starting just because I want to see, since I'm a forward, I want to see how the defense is playing. And if there's a player in particular, I'm noticing, oh, she's going in for certain tackles, then I don't feel safe with her. I'll be like, okay, can we put me on this side? Can I play wing this game? Like, and my coaches work with me when it comes to that, just because I'm 9 months out and chance of re-tear is still high, so I still need to be cautious. But then it comes to I get in the game and I have no doubts. I have no hesitations. I go into tackles 100% and I'm ready. So it's just that kind of thing where I want to watch the game first and I want to see how they play. It's just more of a tactical thing and just precautions. Yeah. So Friday night I played that game, played really good. It was really nice to be back. I played the 10, I played the 9. And then we had a game Saturday morning. Saturday morning, I scored my first goal back. It was actually one of my only high school teammate on this team because the way the years work, the rest of my teammates are on the team a year younger than us. But my teammate had grabbed the ball, went out of bounds. And my teammate had grabbed the ball like just a quick throw, and she was playing wing, and she had grabbed the ball, and I was calling for it. I made my run. She threw it into me, and I had scored off of a volley from her throw in, which was great. It was great to be assisted by one of my high school teammates that I played with for literally forever. Right. So that felt really, really good. And we were down like 3-0 at that point. So that brought us back to 3-1. And then we were in the game from that point on. Like I had assisted 2 of her goals. And then we came back and then we lost like 4-3. I think it was the final score in that game. But we still had played an amazing game and we came back from a 3-0,
Yeah. What's kind of the feedback you've gotten from your teammates, both on the club side and the high school side, just as they see your progression through this journey? What's kind of some of the feedback you've received from them?
Yeah, so all my teammates are so excited to have me back. They really missed me as I missed them and the game too. So, I mean, it's been great. They've been my support system through it all. They've seen the whole recovery. I've been there every step of the way. They've been there for me and they've seen it all happen. So they were super excited to see like that final step of me getting back on the field and especially like me scoring that goal. They were all so happy for me. And it feels great to have people surrounding me like that.
Yeah. So, you hit on it earlier. We were talking about you were coming off of this fabulous sophomore campaign, right? Mm-hmm. Fabulous sophomore season, primed for a very big breakout junior season, and then bam, yes. first half of first game, you go down. But obviously, and then now you're back and you're working towards that those aspirations of playing at the next level. Talk to us about that in terms of where you are with that process and kind of what you're thinking and why you want to pursue playing at the next level.
Yeah, I mean, I would absolutely love to play at the next level. Everything just has to fit, right? Because I mean, I know that soccer is not going to be right forever. I know that I have to go to college and I have to pick a major that is going to be a career that I am in for the rest of my life. So like one of my biggest things in this recruitment process is making sure these schools fit me academically because grades are very important to me. I have maintained a 4.0 my whole high school career. And so I'm looking to go into, I'm looking to go for a nursing degree or to go into get my physician's assistant license.
Nice.
So, definitely making sure that these schools have my major is like one of my top priorities, and then making sure that the area is something where I could see myself living. So just places like closer to home, not the places that are like -10 degrees. So that's definitely a big thing for me.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and then just making sure that if I go meet the girls or I have a call with them, that I feel like there are people that I would want to surround myself with, and making sure that they fit and match like my priorities and my dedication to the game. Just things like that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's great stuff. No, it's really great stuff, and so happy to hear in terms of your priorities being right. And we've clearly worked on establishing, your identifying your need and separating your needs from your wants. Right? You remember those conversations?
Yes, I do.
So
I still have that list in my notes.
that's awesome. So, all right, Sky. So as we start transitioning here. Um, the last question I kind of have for you here is, what can we expect from both, Skylar Skelton this year, but also I know you're kind of sort of, I guess, on the tail end or getting closer to the tail end of your fall club season. So what can we expect from, Skylar Skelton and let's say your high school season at
Yes.
Liberty this year? Lions, right? Are you guys
Yes,
Lions? Is that
we are
right?
the
Yeah.
Lions. So we have tryouts next a week from Wednesday. So I'm obviously super excited to try out this year. As a senior, I'm going to be a leader out there. I'm going for captain. So I'm so excited about that. It's one of my biggest goals to be captain this year. Um, I'm doing everything I can to help my coach when it comes to whatever he needs. I tutor for him first hour, so I help him a lot as it is in the classroom and on the soccer field. So yeah, and then I'm just trying to make this season the best season. It's gonna be our last season, so I'm trying to just get our team to do bonding stuff outside of soccer. Because if we're all friends and like family off the field, we'll play even better together on the field. So just little things like that, getting the team together, even team dinners, and we have a lot of things that we do for high school that we don't normally do for club. So just getting those things organized, getting them together, and starting now. Like I'm designing t-shirts. Me and one of my other teammates are gonna design t-shirts this year. So we're just trying to get those in, and just little things like that, trying to get this year set up and make it amazing for all the underclassmen and all the seniors. We have a lot of seniors this year. I think we have like 12, which
Wow.
that was how it was my freshman year. And there was me and my one of my teammates that we were the only two freshmen on varsity my freshman year, and it was like there were 12 seniors, and we're looking at all them and we're like, oh my gosh, like they're like so big, they're so old, they can drive, like stuff like that. And then I mean, we didn't get treated the best by them. We didn't feel like we were included. So like my biggest goal is to be friends. Like I'm friends with like all the sophomores, like last year's freshmen. So I'm like just trying to include everyone that I can. I'm trying to make sure that the freshmen that make it this year, to
Mhm.
make sure that they don't feel the way I felt, like excluded and all that. So that's just like one of my biggest goals this year, is to make sure that everyone's super connected and super together, and that we have an amazing season. We play well, and that hopefully we can make it to state and win.
Okay. Yeah, as the father of a current high school freshman that plays as well, I would tell, yeah, take care of those freshmen.
Yeah.
Take them under your wing. Hey, make them earn stuff still, make them
Yep.
appreciate stuff, but yeah, but take them under your wing for sure. So that's part of the leadership aspect. Um, so for us here, listeners, tell us a little bit more about. I'm going to put you on the spot here. Tell
Okay.
us a little bit more about Liberty High School. Where do they rank? Where are they in the process? Where do you guys think you're going to be this year? Where do you feel you're going to be in contention, maybe for a district title? Where do you think? Give us a little bit in terms of the history of that program too.
So this program has been run by my coach, Coach Pooler, and then his assistant has been Coach Rob. Love Coach Rob. He's an amazing support system. Love Coach Pooler. He's a great coach. So my last 4 years in this program, we've always made it to quarterfinals, and then that's when we lose to Chaparral, who has won 5 or 6 years in a row. They recruit very well.
Yeah,
They pick their players for sure.
yeah.
Um,
Where are they based out of exactly?
Chaparral is in this like Scottsdale area. It's out there.
Okay,
It's a very nice school.
gotcha. Yeah.
And then there's Pinnacle too, who Chap and Pinnacle played in for state last year, and Pinnacle had beat them in regular season, which was the first loss since like 2018, I believe, for
Mhm.
Chaparral. So that was huge in like the soccer world. All of us were talking about that one for a long time. But yeah, but then they met again in state and Chap won. Like we all saw that one coming again. But yeah, Liberty girls soccer it's a very, very, very competitive program, whereas our boys are struggling a little bit. But
Okay.
yep.
Yeah.
But the girls side, we have 12 seniors. There's 2 committed right now. One is going to Washington, and she's going D1. She is amazing. I love her. Her name's Tatum. And then we have Kai, who is going to Colorado Christian. It's D2.
Nice. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yep, we have a lot of good girls. And then we have some great wingers. We have our whole attacking line is great. We had a really good goalie last year and she graduated. So we're struggling to find another goalie because our backup decided not to play this year. So
Oh, wow.
our seniors doing the best we can to try to recruit someone else to come play goalie for us, or else we're gonna have to throw in a field player. So
Yeah.
struggling there. And then we lost a few defenders. One of our defenders just tore a meniscus a few weeks ago. So, and she's like one of our best starting defenders. So that really sucked. But I mean, only so much she can do, but she's still part of it like I was when I tore my ACL. So it's great to see her still involved.
Right. Yeah. So once again, she is Skylar Skelton, 2022 uncommitted forward, college coaches. I'm going to say that again, uncommitted forward out of Peoria, Arizona. All right, Sky, I understand you're going to stay with us, right, for our next segment as we transition to counterattack. So this is where we get to have some fun with you, pick on you a little bit, ask you random off-the-wall soccer and non-soccer questions, mainly non-soccer, really. So we get to pick on you a little bit, have some fun with you. You ready?
Yep.
Yeah. All right, let's get going. So first one, any training, either whether it's training session or mainly more so game day, superstitions or rituals that you have?
For me, I mean, a lot of people, like, this was brought up in one of a call with a coach, actually. He had asked me, he's like, so what's your favorite song to listen to pregame? And I'm like, I mean, this might seem weird to a lot of people, but I don't really like listening to music before my games because the whole backstory behind it is I had joined this club. It was the second, I had just switched club teams. So it was my first club team to my second. And the first game, I was like so nervous because it was like my first game with this new team. I'm so scared. And I was like really nervous and I almost passed out. And my coach came over because I had sat down for a minute. And he came over to me and he's like, why are you nervous? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I'm just really nervous to play. And he's like, well, something that had helped me when I had played back, like when he was younger, he's like, something that had helped me was just envisioning the game and envisioning just the things that you do during the game, like your skills, the things you know you can do, stuff like that. So when it comes to like before a game, like I don't listen to music unless like the team's playing it or whatever, but even still, like I'm not focused on it. I'm focused on like just thinking about how the game's going to go. What am I going to do? How am I going to make a difference in this game?
Okay, good. That's a very professional answer. I like that. I like that. All right. Emojis, yes or no? You an emoji
I
person?
don't use emojis a lot, actually.
Man,
I mean,
you are just
no, I like if
no
I do
music,
the
no
heart,
emojis. God,
yeah,
super
if I do
boring.
the heart, I don't do like the heart. I do like the like arrow and then a 3. Like I'm that type of person.
Yeah, I'm thinking about that now. Actually, now that I asked that, it's like, yeah, you don't
I
send
don't really send
very
emojis.
many emojis. Yeah. Okay. All right. Next part of that. Are you? I don't even know what to call this anymore, so I'll use both. Are you a GIF or GIF person?
GIF.
GIF.
Or am
Okay.
I? Okay.
Yeah. Are you?
No, I don't. I like
No.
never send them. Like my friends send them to me sometimes, and I laugh at them. I think they're funny, but like I don't send them
Yeah.
that much.
It's a timing thing. If you send the right
Yeah, you
one,
have to find the right time for them. I mean,
right.
there's that one game. Oh my gosh. What's the name of it? And it's like it has like the little pictures, and then you have to like pick something that goes with it, and like it's super funny. I love that game. That game's fun.
Awesome.
But I don't send them that much.
All right. So, last book you read or book you're currently reading?
So right now I'm reading Pride and Prejudice. I've never seen it, and which is like honestly kind of crazy because I feel like it's super popular. But I'm reading it because I have like an outside novel project to do for English, so I have to like read it, and then like my choice is I'm just gonna make like a children's book out of it. So like that's my project. So I'm in the middle of reading that, but I'm only like 6 chapters in, so that's kind of confusing. So I'm like, I'm reading it, and then over here I have my Spark notes comparing them. I'm like, okay, now that makes sense.
Yeah, awesome. So are you holding off to watch the movie until after?
Yeah,
right?
I'm definitely gonna wait to watch.
Yeah, doing it the right way. Good. So I love where your head is at in terms of just studying, being committed to your studies, and you tackle everything with full commitment. So love that about you. Absolutely love that about you. So all right, next one. Favorite movie quote. So
Stay
you're
golden.
still extremely young. So I don't know how many if you really have a kind of a really good movie quote.
Yeah, no, I love. I still remember reading the book The Outsiders,
Oh
and I
wow.
love the quote "Stay golden, pony boy."
Yeah. Okay. Now have you seen that movie?
Yes, I have, but it's been a long time because
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
read that book in middle school and I still remember it. So,
Yeah, you should watch that. What's amazing about that one is just the star power
mhm.
in terms of who were in that before they were
Yeah,
stars and how young they were. That's kind of the jaw dropping thing about that movie. So yeah,
yeah,
good movie, great
yes,
book.
great.
Um, all right, now in sticking with that quote theme, what is a quote that you've come across or a quote that's near and dear to your heart? A quote that describes you. Can you think of one?
I don't know.
Yeah,
It's a good question. I don't know. There's no quotes that like super stand out to me.
nothing.
I guess not
Yeah.
really. Like a song that's good, like "Humble and Kind" by Tim McGraw. Like I love that song. That one
Song.
like
Okay,
stands
we're
out
going
to
with a
me.
song. Okay,
We'll go with the
maybe I'll
song.
come back to that one. See if you can think
Okay,
of.
okay.
So, all right. All right. So, as a student athlete, as a player, right, playing the game, playing club as well, um, we put you in charge of all of club soccer, all of high school soccer in America tomorrow. All right,
Okay.
you're it. You're the president. You're the student athlete representative. Right.
Okay.
What is one thing you would change tomorrow for club and high school soccer from your perspective as a player?
Hmm. I think honestly, jeez, that's a good question.
Come on, come
Um,
on.
I've got something. I just need to think. When it comes to soccer, I don't know. I try to make it more competitive in ways, like see what I can do to like make different. Because I mean, like we have our Porter subdivision, we have state, we have APL, like those things. I'd see what I can do to try to make it more competitive. And like I know that certain leagues can't play, like DA can't play certain teams, like stuff like that, or GA is what it's called now. So I try to make it more competitive in that sense. Like see what I'm saying?
Okay, good. That's good. No, it's good to know. That's good. That's a good one. All right. So, all right. So now we're back to the movies here. So, who would play what current or former famous uh, actress or actor? I don't know. Who would play you in a movie? We're making a movie of Skylar Skelton. Who plays you tomorrow?
I don't really watch movies that much,
Yeah.
honestly, so I don't know, like, a lot of the
I was gonna say
actors
you can't say Pony Boy. Okay,
and
sorry, you can't
actresses.
say
Yeah,
Pony Boy.
I know. Um, I don't watch movies that much, so I don't know a lot of the actresses.
Yeah,
I mean, I'd need, like, an ABCD answer here.
yeah. Oh no, I don't know.
I need multiple choice on this one.
Really, I don't know.
I don't
I
know
can't
actresses.
even.
I
Yeah, I
don't
don't
I
know.
don't
You
watch
have.
movies that much. The last time I watched a movie, I can't
Yeah.
even tell you what movie it was.
Like, yeah. Who are the big actresses right now in Hollywood? I don't.
I don't know.
That's a great question. I don't know. I don't
I
know.
watch Netflix. I watch my medical shows. Grey's Anatomy. Oh my gosh. If we went into Grey's Anatomy.
Hey, well, those
Yeah.
are actors
Yeah,
too.
you got Ellen Pompeo. That's
Okay.
Meredith. That's one of the
There
ones
you
that
go.
I
Yeah,
know.
yeah. I could.
That works then.
I could
She
actually
me
see
my
that.
actors.
Actually, I could actually see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say, don't ask me questions. You're it's like, hey, this is my podcast. I ask you the questions. What are you talking about? So, all right, awesome. Okay, so now a bucket list destination. All right, before it's all said and done, when
Ooh.
Skylar's getting ready to kick the bucket, 85 years from now, what would you say? Where's a place you have to go see with your own eyes and visit before it's all said and done?
Um, I'm definitely into like beaches. So somewhere beachy. I've never been out of the country, and that's another fact about me.
Okay.
So I don't know. That's a good one. If I had to choose, I don't know. There's one I'm thinking of, but I can't name it. Like I literally forgot the name.
Country? Can you think of the country where it is?
No clue.
No. Continent? Is it South America,
Well, like,
Europe?
oh my gosh, like a bunch of people go to honeymoons on them. I could find it. Let me look. Let me see. I bet I could find it right now because I know some YouTubers that were there that went there on their honeymoon.
Bucket. All right. We're talking about a beach here. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's like they have like the bungalows and all that. I'd have to look.
Okay.
Let's see if I can find it. Okay, wait, here it is. Let's see if I can find it. They tagged it. The Maldives. That's what I was gonna say. Maldives.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. There you go. Well, you see, now you know. So aren't you glad I asked the question? Now you know.
Yes.
Now
No,
you know. So next time you get asked that, boom.
the
Now you
Maldives.
know. There
That's
you
where I'm
go.
going.
Great spot, by the way. Great spot.
Mhm.
All right. So I don't even know how to describe where we are in terms of the pandemic process. Obviously, we're
Yes.
not at the peak. There's been multiple spikes and what have you. But from when the pandemic, from the shutdown really first picked up in this country, February, March, I
Yes.
guess you could really say, of last year to now. Um, Netflix series or any other, whether
Yeah.
it's Amazon Prime, what have you, what's been the go-to show that you've been able to binge watch? What's been your favorite?
When it first started, I watched Grey's Anatomy, but I just recently started watching Chicago Med. And
Mhm.
honestly, I prefer Chicago Med over Grey's Anatomy, which is probably an unpopular opinion. But
Okay.
I think Chicago Med showcases more of the medical side, whereas you
Mhm.
got your drama with Grey's Anatomy. And like I'm super into the medical stuff, so I think that
Yeah.
that's like definitely what makes me favorite.
Okay.
But Chicago Med's like my favorite, and they're coming out with new episodes like every Wednesday night, so that's like been my thing.
Okay.
So
What about, did you ever watch, now this is much older. I'm dating myself here because this was kind of,
okay,
this was in, this was like the Grey's Anatomy before Grey's Anatomy,
okay.
ER. Have you watched ER?
No, I haven't.
The series, you need to watch that.
Okay.
So that actually came up. So in my last episode where I had, Coach Stephanie Sazo from
Mhm.
El Paso del Valle High School, she's their new head women's soccer coach. And she brought that up, how she's just,
Yeah.
hardcore ER. And I remember, I never got into that show personally, but I remember it was big. It was very,
Mhm.
I think Grey's Anatomy
Took
was,
over for it.
was bigger because just because of the groundwork that ER laid. And
Yep.
I can't believe I'm having this conversation right now. But anyway, uh, but I think just social media and everything else, Grey's
Yep.
Anatomy was just, but
Popular.
ER was huge. And from what I understand, from what I'm told, ER is actually more like quote unquote medical driven rather than just
Yeah.
the
The
drama
drama.
of the people behind.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So that's definitely a conversation I never thought I would have on this podcast, but there we go. All right. So, are you a morning or night person?
Definitely a morning person. Like if I get up late, I feel like I've just like wasted my day. Like I want to get up and I want to do stuff.
Yeah.
So
Okay. What is the go-to breakfast?
bagels. I love my bagels for
Bagels.
sure.
All right. Good. Good. All right. So here's the final question, and sticking with the food theme.
Okay.
So you're cooking for everybody, right? Pandemic's completely over for good. All the families coming over out of town, whatever. Let's say you're now playing in a college program, right? You come back and you said, "Hey, I want to cook for everybody. I want to have Sunday dinner. Everybody over, family from all over is here. You're the chef. What are you cooking?"
Chicken fettuccine alfredo. I took culinary my junior year last year. We made it in culinary, and
Uh-huh.
my group probably did the best. We kind of killed it. So,
No, kind of killed it, huh?
yep.
So,
Well,
all
it's
right.
one of my favorite things to make for
Yeah.
sure.
So if you're ever in Texas, you're ever near San Antonio, I'm going to take you up
Yep.
on that. Okay. So
All
I'm going
right.
to have to take you up on that. So, Sky, this has been tremendous. This has been great. I've loved having you on. I mean it when I say that I can't tell you how proud I am in terms of
Yep.
your journey, how far you've come. I wish you and your teammates, both on the club side and especially on your high school, your high school program at Liberty. I wish you the absolute best. I hope you have a fabulous senior season. I know you're going to be primed for that.
Yeah.
I know you're going to be destined for great things, both on and off the field. Again, she's Skylar Skelton, 2022 uncommitted forward. College coaches, what are you waiting for? All right, uncommitted forward out of Peoria, Arizona, in the greater Phoenix area. Sky, before we let you go, any final thoughts, shout outs to whether it be, all these great, fabulous coaches. I mean, coaches as well, which you already gave a shout out to, but maybe some of the doctors, physical therapists that help you
Yeah.
along the way, your teammates. Any final words, shout outs that you have?
Yeah, so my surgeon was Dr. Shabra. He was absolutely amazing, works with a lot of athletes here at ASU, even some professional teams out here. He is absolutely amazing. Love him.
Nice.
And then my physical therapist, Dan and Jed, they were from Mayo. And then my other physical therapist, Ryan from OSR. He's amazing too. And then my trainers at my high school. I love them. They've been there for me like through this whole thing. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for having me on here.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Very proud of you. Glad to have you on. We're blessed to have you on, and privilege is ours. So we're grateful for that. And hey, like I said, it's a big deal. You're only the second student athlete to be featured on here.
Yep.
So that's saying a lot. Um, Thank you again for everything. Continue doing what you're doing. I'm just a phone call away, so don't hesitate. We expect great things from you this year and beyond. For our listeners, again, thank you for your support. Thank you for your ongoing efforts in terms of getting us more views, more listens. Uh, DMs have been kind of pretty crazy over the last few weeks in terms of interview suggestions. So if you know of anybody, if you know of a good coach, particularly in the Texas area, it doesn't have to just be high school, but a college coach, we're definitely looking to feature more student athletes, tell their stories, because in the end, that's what this is really about, is telling their stories and letting them showcase the great things that they are doing in their communities. But thank you again to our listeners. Again, we continue to grow, now being listened to in 11 different countries, which is pretty awesome, pretty cool. So we're grateful for that. But in the meantime, you know what to do. So keep downloading and keep listening.